Hey everyone, Jim Phoenix here, and boy, do we have an exciting what's cracking. I say that a lot, but you know what? It's not one time, it's not two times, it is three times as brilliant, three times as bright. We've got none other than the superstars of Haunted Gold Rush. By the way, on T&E channel, Sunday, October 30th. Better set your calendars, kids. Sunday, October 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. But we've got a three people going out doing spooky things. We've got Corine, say hello.
Hello.
We got Leanne, say hi.
Hey, that's me.
And Kelly, hello. Oh, and Kelly does the wave. Okay, yes. We're all doing the waves now. So I have to admit, when Blue Ant through T&E said, hey, are you interested in spooky things? Like, yes, I am. Do you want to hear about gold rushing? Yes, I am. And how about 3 paranormal investigators? Like, yeah, like how do you like not know? This is awesome. Please tell me why, how, where, how did you meet each other? How does it come together? 3 people for paranormal investigation.
Right.
How?
Okay. So we're paranormal investigators. These two, Corine and Leanne, are sisters. I'm the best friend. We have our own company called Beyond the Haunting Investigations, where we basically go into people's homes, businesses, locally, internationally, by word of mouth. Pretty much people call us in and we go suss it out and see, is it haunted? What's going on? And we dive into it that way. But the beginning of all of that starts with Green, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm the oldest, and as a child, I was born with a unique set of abilities that from a young age, from the age of like 3 years old, I could see things and hear things and know things that no kid should have known. And so I remember being in a car accident, quite a serious car accident when I was 3 with my grandmother. And, I'm stuck in a ditch. My grandmother is unconscious outside the car. And I remember hearing this man talking to me and then looking up and seeing this man going, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I'm like, well, how is that possible? So I saw that man again later that night. And then, for quite a long time, all through my life. And it turned out to be our biological grandfather.
Really?
Who had passed away, in the 60s. So there's no way I would have known who that person was. Right. So, when you hear things like that and you grow up and then your parents are like, well, there's no one there. There's no one there. And you get tested for certain things. I learned to suppress that very quickly. So as a kid, by the time I was 9 years old, I had suppressed everything. It's not real. It's not there. I was terrified, like, that sixth sense kind of thing where it's like, I see things. So I shut that down. And it wasn't until I was a teenager when I started to notice that things that I was picking up on were coming true and things were accurate. And then I'd look over when I saw something and then someone else was seeing something. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So Corine's my older sister, but we shared a room as kids. And I saw her having all these experiences that were real. And then I had an experience for the first time and I was like, oh, it's happening. Like, we are talking about this. We are doing this. Like, my whole world became like reading the books and watching the shows. And I was all in 100%. And so I was different where I just like talked about it all the time, where Corine still suppressed it. But as we got older, we started doing more things and going more places. And it was natural to bring Kelly into it.
Yeah. So I met Leanne in high school. And growing up, I wasn't exposed to these sort of topics. It wasn't talked about in my family. And it was kind of like, even you could say mocked or joked about type of thing. So when I started to hang out with Leanne and she was talking about these weird things from my family's perspective, it kind of went in one ear and out the other, like, okay, she's kind of different, but I like her, so I'm going to keep spending time with her. So the more time I spent with her, the more the stuff that was going in started to sink in a bit. Cool. And then I like to say that she like opened me up a little bit. So then the more I spent time with the both of them, the more I experienced these things myself and I saw what was going on. And it was so undeniable. And then they started, so it brings us to like going into haunted places. They started pulling me out because they're like, oh, she's opening that. So they started taking me with them. Yeah. And so I basically went in as like a fly on the wall, sort of like their shadow, like listening, watching, taking it all in, a skeptical observer, because this is not the stuff that I was raised with. Like, I believe in heaven. I believe that there's something more, but this is a bit too much for me.
Right.
So I'd go in. And so after going in enough times, I started to notice that I was sort of sensing and feeling the same things that they were sensing and feeling, and getting like visions in my mind's eye. And then I started saying them and they're validating me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this for real? And then I started to have memories as a child. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I always had this, but it was like, you talk about it with your family and it sort of just goes in their ear and out the other ear,
right,
and sort of dropped. Right. So now it's like, it's been this whole amazing journey of embracing all of these things that were always there, that are here, that we can't see. And it's just so exciting.
Well, that's wonderful you're saying that. It is exciting. And I like how Corine starts out saying, I saw things, I heard things, I told my parents. They're like, no, that just stop it. Like, stop it now. And it just squashes it, right? Until you get a collaborator.
But it was amazing. As soon as I knew, like, I was like, did you just see that? And you're like, what was that? And I'm like, okay, time out. We're going to play a new game. Spot the spirit. What else do you see? So I was like testing her from a young age.
I nailed it. Don't worry.
She nailed it. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I'm not alone in this. And so as we got older and I realized that things were like real and she's seeing stuff, I'm like, this is legit. So it was this big thing. And as we got older and more things happened, and we came into our own and pulled Kelly in, and like we started going out and doing this. It was a natural thing to start our own company and, go out and help those people that were having experiences that were real to them. And so it kind of just developed into that.
Yeah. And you hit the head, help. You're helping them. And I think just like all three of you, they need someone to hear them, someone to investigate, someone that will believe them enough to come over.
Exactly.
And try to help them through it, and I know that it's not out yet. Sunday, October 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Pacific is going to be Haunted Gold Rush. And I know you can't talk much about it yet, but I will say, and I'm going to ask, your experience with T&E Channel, is it as wonderful as everyone else's? I know I'm leading the question a bit, but is it as wonderful because they give people a voice, they give people a platform, they make it as face value, like, oh, you're telling the truth, let's go.
Yeah, it's been amazing so far. We can't say enough good things. And the whole like, okay, so we are Canadian girls, we're BC girls, we just get our own backyard.
Yeah.
And like letting us do that for a place we were called, it's just been such an incredible full circle experience for us too.
To share what we do.
Go into that more. The place where you called. Something called you there?
Yeah. So through our company, we've been getting calls for a long time. And then we started getting calls in various places along the Cariboo Gold Rush and the Fraser Canyon from New West all the way up to Barkerville. And so when we were thinking about it, we love the history, and we knew the gold rush was like this booming, wild, like often violent place in the 1800s. Yes. And, in the last couple of years, we started thinking about like, what's going on? Like, why are we getting all these calls? So we thought about it. It was like, we've had the global pandemic. We've had the massive wildfires out here in British Columbia. And, to the point where towns have been completely destroyed, wiped off the map right now. It's devastating. Mm-hmm. And then, on top of all of that, you've had the floods. We've had massive rains, roadways completely, like the canyon's still not rebuilt out there.
Pretty biblical.
Yeah. And it's like, with all of this, what has been unearthed, and why are all of a sudden it's becoming this hot spot of paranormal activity? And why are we getting all these calls?
Yeah.
Right. So it became a little bit, there was more intense reports that were coming out. So, we decided that maybe we should just do a road trip and hit the road and like retrace history from Yale all the way up and see what we get and help these people that have been calling us in. So it was kind of a natural kind of a road trip. So
and it's interesting because we have taken we have retraced the Gold Rush Trail from a paranormal lens.
Yeah.
So when we say road trip, it's a different kind of road trip. Yeah. Like we are walking with history, right? It's never been done from this perspective. And what we found was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's not your typical girls' road trip. There was no spas.
And I was like, that's like the Marriott and some spas for me, by the way. I'm like, it's not it. So you were actually on the road that people what was it, 100? COVID time has warped me a bit. So it was like 200 years ago, right? Now?
In
By
the
now, yeah.
1800s, yeah.
1800s. That is 200. Okay. 200 years ago, and you're just following in their footsteps, and sometimes literally in their footsteps because you can still see them there.
Yeah.
Without giving any spoilers away, I'm guessing this is not like, oh, we went there and nothing happened. I'm guessing that's not it.
A few
No?
things happened.
Yeah,
This is like, those are thanks for vacation, guys. That's all it was.
yeah.
But what
No,
we can
so-
say is that we had Small Army Entertainment was our production crew that came with us, and they were
Nice.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Sean DeVries, our producer, who previously did The Bachelor Canada, we threw him into a paranormal world.
Yeah.
And so he came with us, and it was amazing. But we had the crew following us and documenting our experiences. And so in some of the locations that you'll see in the documentary on Sunday, we got called in for very specific experiences. Like, for example, like there was a little boy or there was whatever. And not to give too much away, but when we got in there, like, okay, sure, yeah, but what the heck is that? And so it was like, whoa, and like the things we uncovered and the things that we found were so validating to the people that called us in and to us as well. And so we did feel like we were helping and sharing some untold stories of the past.
That's amazing. Did anything freak you out? And it doesn't have to be just for a haunted gold rush, which I know again is on September. Oh my gosh, October. It's an October Sunday, October 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Pacific. See, I think sometimes even I see things. Sometimes I see dates wrong. Sometimes I see October to September. I don't know anymore.
There you go.
And that's what it is. Now, is there anything you've seen that was too scary throughout? And just like, we just can't show this. We can't dissect it. It's time to leave. It's just like, okay, we're good. Let's pack up.
Stairs.
Yeah, I had a moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a couple moments, but I'll tell you what.
Okay.
So we were at a location in the 108, and you'll have to watch it to really understand the whole scenario going on. But I had gone down this set of stairs because at the time, Corine couldn't really form words because she had seen something that terrified her.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like,
I swear a lot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good.
I said, I'll just go down and I'll see if I get anything, and I'll just go down to the bottom of those dark stairs.
Yeah.
And I did, and there was a quickly running out of there. But there's always these moments of surprise. Like you might be expecting something and then it just surprises you. But you keep going until you feel like it's no longer respectful, or you know what I mean? Like it's like we're there to uncover something for sure.
And if a spirit or energy wants us out and we're getting to that point, which we've had in many other places before, where we're like, I think it's time to maybe take a step back.
Yeah.
We will respect that and take a moment. We're not going to push it and see how
I
far we're
appreciate
going to
that.
go.
Yeah, it's sort of both like listening to ourselves and how spirits interacting with us and what becomes a bit too much. Like we'll look at each other. I know for me in the first episode, you'll see something similar happen. You've seen it. Or if it's Corine and she's in a situation where spirit is coming on a little strong, let's say, Leanne and I look at each other and we sort of assess ongoing. And then at what point are we going to pull the pin and get out of here? Yeah. So it's sort of an ongoing safety thing. Yeah.
Okay. All three of you, not just like leaving Corine there going, it looks like
she's on her own now.
Call us.
Yeah. There was that time actually.
Really? No.
Yeah, I think in hindsight. No.
We might have left you in a location alone, but I was checking on Kelly.
I just remember that. Yeah, they definitely feel in the documentary. Yeah, you'll have to watch.
Oh wow. See, that's the things I love. I mean, it's true camaraderie. It's true friendship. It really is.
It really is.
It's true.
That's the difference, right? Like the sisters, well, it's like we're all sisters, but sisters, best friends. We know each other. We grew up with each other. We know kind of what's going on and when to, help out.
You can just take a look at one of them and be like, oh, terror. Okay. Or, oh, no, it's time to go. Like you just them,
Or when she starts to bite her lip or she has this look in her eye, we look at each other and we're like, oh, somebody's here.
Can't wait.
If we don't feel it, we know she's feeling it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, has there been anyone that not really disapproved of you being on their property or just didn't believe, or I want to say overwatched, just a little bit too closely overwatched, or was a little too enthusiastic of you being there? Like now they all called you in, but does anyone a little want to be like extra? They're amping things up. They try to put a show on for you
Oh,
or
right.
something along those lines.
There's been times where we've gone into locations and I think maybe the experience was maybe exaggerated a bit, and we walked in and we're like, well, it's not really that. We think it's this. Or it was like, not maybe exaggerated might be the wrong word, but their interpretation of their experience might have been a little bit different. And so when we walk in, we're like, actually, it's not that. It's like, we think it's more this. So it's that kind of situation where sometimes it's just we're all interpreting our own experiences too. So, we're trying to make sense of a situation and help. And sometimes it's very different than what we were presented with.
There is one situation that's coming to mind for me, and I won't say names or locations just to maintain privacy of the clients, but there was a location that they told us the information, and we went in and came out with our own information. And when we spoke to them about it, then there was a certain truth that surfaced that no one had known about. And it was kind of a deep, dark family thing that was going on. And so it's stuff like that. That's always like, it's giving me goosebumps right now.
Wow.
But it's like, there's the truth and then there's the deep truth.
Yeah. You know what? I've talked to Andrea Perrin before from the Conjuring House, and the Bathsheba Source of Evil, which T&D also put out. And she was saying something similar as well, where when the Warrens were helping them out, there's their version of things and then the family's version of things.
Yes.
And sometimes things need to take together to bubble out to the surface. Because we each see our own truths, and we're kind of caught with our truth mapping, and so we try to make sense of how we see it, but we need to talk, and that's wonderful how it worked for you guys. That's nice.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, has anyone been worried that something followed you home?
Ooh. Well,
it's a real threat. Yeah,
it's a real thing. Yeah. I think we have our own ways of dealing with the end of an investigation. So I know in the past, we've used certain strategies and techniques to kind of cleanse ourselves. It's real. You don't really know until you get home, I guess, if it's worked or not.
Yeah.
And I think we're just working on ways to protect ourselves, and look out for each other too, so that stuff does not happen. Yeah.
There you go. That's it. It's true teamwork, and you're not edging or egging the ghost on or the spirit on. Like, you're not tweaking the nose. You're being there respectfully. You're trying to figure things out. So even if it's something, as you say, is that little boy, but also what's that?
Exactly.
It's something that you'd be aware of, and not, just don't poke the tiger.
Yeah. And we're very cognizant of going in. Like if there's someone that calls us in and there's a child involved or there's kids involved, like I was that terrified child. So I don't want to amp up activity so that we leave the poor kid like, could get worse. Like we're never going to do that. Yeah. So we're there.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Be respectful and actually try to, work through the situation with whoever is there.
Yeah, we remember our why. So before we go in, we recenter, make sure we're centered and balanced and know our why. And it's like a higher purpose thing, like for the collective. Like it's a bigger thing than just us. I'm getting rolling chills talking about it, but it's like, it's bigger than this. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. And I'm so glad you bring that up, because a lot of times where we're seeing the movies are based on or whatever, they go on location and they forget, like, people still live there.
Yeah.
Like after you're gone, they have to deal with that. Like whatever you just kind of like the hornet's nest, like, bye, thanks.
Yeah.
I got it. We got our shot.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we'll burn the house down.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful that you're cognizant of that. And I like how you're saying, because, or maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but you're saying because you were maybe disbelieved as a kid, it's important to show the kids that it's some support. It's true. You're building the kids up instead of tearing them down.
Yeah. And to know that they're not alone. Like, I was in my own head going, oh, it's not real, but they're right there. Right. So to have kids, especially, or anybody who's going through this, just have somebody else validate that, we've experienced this too. I think is so powerful to coming into their own truth as well and learning to live or to manage that situation.
And we all have such different backstories, even though we're so close. Like how we got to this point today is very different. And I think that might resonate with people too.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing event. And the coolest thing about your particular show, it's a 2-part special, right? It's a back-to-back?
Yeah, it's back-to-back.
2 1 hour.
I can't wait. It's if you're into history, you can watch it just as a history buff, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you're into paranormal, you can watch it definitely as for paranormal. And if you're into like the family feel good, because I'm guessing you're talking and building people up, there's those tender moments that appear. There has
Yeah,
to
I think
be.
it's just natural. Like with our dynamic, you just see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time that we have a lot more paranormal investigators that are family oriented. I guess family oriented is the right word for it, but more into the supportive, more into being there for each other and for the clients and for the spirits, and just showing a more positive side. And honestly, God, I am so thankful for this interview because I jumped on it. I absolutely I saw like what haunted gold rush. That's very cool. Like what? Like three paranormal investigators? Like, are you kidding? And they're none of these like the things that we have in our mind. We're thinking about like what's a paranormal investigator. We look like, oh yeah, people you don't want to like sometimes associate with. But no, they're wonderful. Three wonderful people
Aw,
Thank you.
Thanks.
that are like believing and just like being kind and generous to everyone. I can't get enough of this. So, all right. Before I say the magic words of Haunted Gold Rush, only on TNA channel, it's a two-parter. Sunday, October 30th, 9 p.m. I'm there. You know what? What are you else going to do at 9 p.m. on a Sunday? House of Dragons done. That's it. You got the perfect slot. We need something. We're going for it. It's the day before Halloween. But for each of you, I'm going to ask you one question, only one question. Okay. And it's going to be the same question. It'll be easy. Either something spookiest, something silliest, or downright you're just like, I just can't believe what happened. Nothing to do with the Haunted Gold Rush special, but before that made you just bond together stronger. All right, so Corine, what's yours?
I'm
there's so many things like coming into my mind.
we're on the road right now. I think for me, it's traveling with these two together.
Yeah.
And like even we're in our hotel room right now on the island on Vancouver Island.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's just like spending the night together and like just the stupidest things that everybody's saying. It's just that's the moments for me that makes it
That's
so
awesome.
silly and just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me was when we first started doing this, and it was like, okay, we got to get all of our equipment, we got to get all of our stuff, we're going to go do this. And then we went and we're like, well, we did not expect that. And then the after debriefs are just like, wow. Like, I think it's that camaraderie that we kind of have together, and the debriefs are fun.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just having open conversations. Like, I've been screaming this from the rooftops my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, for the first time ever, like, we can go out and publicly talk about it and actually go down the rabbit hole and like explore the unknown and ask the questions. And it's part of like the next chapter, right? Like, we hope audiences love this and we can do more. We just want to keep going.
I'll give you a hint. It's 5 out of 5 stars for me.
Aw, yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. And it's amazing because of the people telling the story. I think I don't do a lot of hyperbole, but you guys have a home run. I think Teeny has a home run. And it's just, when you say you guys, it's just, the show's gonna be a home run. But I think your group is a home run. I think that it's so great and refreshing to see a tight-knit people having fun and still being invested and still being inquisitive and being caring and being allowing other people to express themselves. It's just so rare, no matter what place you're in, but special paranormal. And it's wonderful to see. You guys deserve everything.
Well, thank you
And
so much.
I hope it's a good big,
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, because what else are we going to do as we wait for Matt Smith? But Haunted Gold Rush on TNA channel, Sunday, October 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. It's a doubleheader. And there's no time jumps, right? There's like, that little kid and now you're an adult. There's no time jumps. We all know exactly. Okay.
That's the whole way through.
Yeah.
We're all the same casting. That's great. But I just want to say thank you, Corine, Leanne, and Kelly, very much for your time and for everything else. And on behalf of myself, Jim Phoenix, and all my special guests, Alan T&E, I like to say bye. Bye, everyone.